So this YouTube video right here made me $108,000 in my business, as you can see here. And to just show you the proof that this actually happened, you can see here this video was uploaded around November 17th. And between November 17th and November 30th, it got around 20,000 views, which was really good for our channel at the time. However, from the 30th all the way going to December 30th here, the views doubled. And with the correct sales funnel and how this actually happened in this video made us $108,000 for Business Relentless Success Club, which you can see I am wearing the hoodie for right here. Now, obviously, this was not from YouTube AdSense. It is what I like to call a micro channel YouTube strategy, but I'm going to explain how the videos that we posted for 8 weeks leading up to this led to us posting this one video, putting a simple calendar link in our bio like this, making that $100,000, and actually how I repeated it again very recently, where I did a 30-day documentary series documenting the entire process of me actually achieving an end goal. From that point on, put the same calendar link in my bio and was able to scale to $12,000 on a YouTube channel that was completely dead and had no traction prior. What I'm going to do in this video is make the process of explaining exactly how I did this so simple that literally anybody can execute it. The only requirements that you have to do this are that you have a laptop, a phone camera, and a Wi-Fi connection. Now, to explain why this actually works, the reason why is that building some kind of personal brand is the way that everyone is getting rich right now. All the gurus that you see online making the most money, they might be selling you a given business model. They might be saying, hey, you got to do trading over here. Hey, you've got to do SMMA over here. Hey, you've got to do freelance brand scaling, whatever it is. However, the model that they're actually doing is being a guru. They're making YouTube videos primarily, and they have other sources of traffic that they're sending you in order to sell information here where they're making their money. And I want to let you know that you can get in on the fun too. And this will literally work if you have absolutely no experience at all. Just to give you an example, I met a guy yesterday who was selling a course on a foreign language. So he was teaching people how to speak a foreign language. And the funniest part about this is the dude didn't even know the language that he was teaching himself. All he did is he went to ChatGPT, had it create a PDF file that was actually going to be sold on his YouTube through a link for $97. And from that point on, he was scripting the videos using ChatGPT, teaching people how to speak this language, just recording it out and actually doing the video himself. From that point on, with incorrect pronunciation, the whole thing, he was making anywhere from 3 to 5K a month selling information. And the craziest part about this is literally ethical. The people that were buying this PDF were getting results, and he just found a way that was pretty creative and honestly kind of unique to go ahead and identify and solve a problem. So I want to explain and show like, hey, this can work for literally anyone. And the reason why this actually works is because the overall state of the market right now is about attention. Attention is the new currency. You had before, the currency was some form of running ads, skills, whatever it might be. Whoever has the most attention right now is able to monetize that and push that into different directions. So instead of trying to learn a business model and going out to other people, learning how to run ads or learning how to do all these things, if you focus on what the richest people are doing, they're all trying to gather up and get as much attention as possible, just like the gold rush back in the 18 whatevers. So how fast can you actually see results of this? As I showed you over here, when I did a documentary series with this, it was 30 days of daily blitzkrieg, extremely aggressive posting. And from that point on, I was able to make $12,000, and I absolutely suck on camera. You can go back and look on my channel. The videos are extremely low quality. I'm literally just using my phone, handheld videos like this. So I would say if you can commit to this for a minimum of 60 to 90 days, just posting daily using the exact strategy I'm going to show you in this video, you're going to be able to get those exact same results and just, copy exactly what I did. So what is the process for actually doing this? This is the golden question. I'm going to go super in depth on. You're going to have absolutely no excuses not to implement everything I show you in this video. So first and foremost is the niche. Just like I showed you over here, the guy doing the foreign language in ChatGPT, this is a very extreme example of actually picking a skill or finding some problem to solve, because quite frankly, he's not going to be able to scale this because he doesn't actually have the ability to show his face and be an expert on the given topic that he's speaking about. So what I recommend you do is you have a few options. A lot of people are actually very hesitant about getting online and posting because they do not believe they are an expert. They have this kind of imposter syndrome where they believe that like, hey, you've got to have done this thing for decades. You got to have gotten a bunch of crazy people, crazy results in order to actually see success. And first off, I want to break down that belief. Ever YouTube video that I ever uploaded, and I talk about how I signed 2 SMA clients in 14 days as a 16-year-old here, and you can see it absolutely blew up and got me 12,000 views. The reason why this is important is because off the back of this, from this video that I was posting right here, I was directing people to a $100 Discord server product where we taught them how to sign their first client the exact same way that I was. Now, the funny part about this is when we had people join in, you might have thought, and the same way that I thought here, you have to be the utmost expert in the world to teach people. I thought that you had to have probably the most authority in the world and you had to be standing all the way atop here, speaking out and preaching to the crowd while all the people down here are kind of just listening to you and like, all right, this is good. This guy's absolutely the best in the world and undeniable. This is what I found out is completely false. When we started this program, I was maybe one step ahead of these guys. I had scaled my agency to around $20,000 a month and they were down here in this kind of phase of starting out. And what I realized and what they actually told me is like, hey, I'd rather learn from somebody who's a few steps ahead of me rather than somebody who's so far ahead and completely disconnected from the actual problems that I have. And this is what I like to call the one step ahead man. If you've seen the movie Catch Me If You Can, there's a character, Frank Abagnale, who manages to teach an entire class of sociology or some kind of complex college class. And the reason why is because he just read one page ahead of every single person, so he was able to actually teach them. And if you're able to do the exact same thing by documenting the process of you learning a skill, just like I'm going to show you how to do in this video, you're able to then position yourself as you get that result as this guy who's one step ahead of them. And then in direct proportion to the size of this problem and the size of this gap that you have here, you're going to have a price. In some situations, if you're a mega expert, this can be something high ticket and it can be $3,000 plus. That was what I consider kind of like the high ticket range as a beginner. Now, if it's a very small problem that you're solving, it might not be this. It might only be $50 to start, or it might only be $300 to start. And as you go further and further up this ladder, especially as you're documenting just like this, you're going to be able to make a massive amount of money just because, again, you're showing your process live and everybody down here, they can relate to you and actually associate their problems that they're facing a lot more with this guy up here. Typically, the people up here aren't able to get very granular because they don't have the ability to get specific about who they're actually trying to help with their videos and the actual products that they sell. So that is why this process actually works and how you're able to actually start this as a beginner, even if you don't have any experience. So from that point on, when you're picking your niche, what I recommend you do is you want to pick a skill. You want to pick a skill, and ultimately what a skill represents is a desirable result that other people have. So you could have a skill in how to throw cards the best in the world. However, if that's not a desirable result that people have, it's actually not going to mean anything. Now, there are 3 core aspects that every single product you're ever going to see ever in existence will fall under. The 3 categories that every single product in existence falls under is either health, wealth, or relationships. Now, depending on your expertise, you have a lot of things that you, even if you don't see yourself as an expert, are expert in certain things. For example, if you speak the English language fluently, there are lots of people who actually want to know that and would be willing to pay for someone to teach them English. So again, there's lots and lots of things that we often take for granted that we're experts in that, again, is a skill that people perceive as desirable. From that point on, you need to determine whether it's a health, wealth, or relationship thing. Let's say someone wants to learn how to speak English in order to actually communicate with their loved one or some form of spouse, whatever it might be. This would be a relationship level skill here versus if you're teaching someone English because of a job and income, that would now be a wealth-based decision and kind of product that you're selling. If you are a beginner and you're kind of in the make money online space, I would recommend you either go the route of wealth or health. So either a fitness offer or some form of business opportunity or skill that is monetizable, because again, we're charging in correlation to the size of the problem that we can solve. And oftentimes when we're solving an income related problem, it is the easiest to justify the price for. For example, a health problem is a little bit more difficult because it depends who we're actually solving the problem for. If we're able to allow LeBron James to jump 10 feet higher, that might mean millions of dollars for whatever team he plays for. So that's going to be a very big gap that we can charge for. However, if we're just solving a fitness problem for a teenager, that might only be a $50 solution. So again, we have to get very granular about who we're going after as well. And honestly, I recommend you cut out the relationship and health as a beginner and just go into the category of wealth. So there are lots of skills that you can actually learn that if you can document the process of you going from a beginner state, which is where the people that will be watching you are, to an expert state, or where again, the result you have is desirable for them, they will be willing to pay you in order to teach you exactly how to do the same. A few examples of good entry-level ones could be video editing, you have thumbnail design, You have using AI prompting. There's lots and lots of examples, infinite like this, but ultimately it has to be something you have some form of prior interest in. And then you can move into the next phase, which is all going to be about the narrative that you actually push out. So if you just create a video every single day of you documenting the process of you editing, and it's just like a daily YouTube video or whatever, your channel is just going to fall under the radar. You're going to get like 30 views a video, and it's not going to actually happen in existence. Nobody's going to pay you, etc. So in order to actually see success with this, a narrative is probably the most important aspect. To explain what I mean by a narrative, people have to have a reason to listen to you. Why should somebody want to learn from you? That's the core question that we're going to be answering. So why you? What are the stakes of what you're doing? And you pretty much want to position yourself like you're the main character in a movie. So the biggest thing that you want to establish is A, where are you going? So what is your dream state that you actually have? What are the stakes if you don't achieve this thing? And then in addition to that, what is going to be the process for you achieving the goal that you actually have? If you can get these three things extremely clear and also explain who you are at the start, this is going to allow you to craft a compelling narrative that people are going to be able to buy into, relate to, and then ultimately watch your videos because they see value in somebody that relates to them going out and doing the things that they want to do. It's almost like they're living through you. So what that means is a great example. You could say you are an 18 to 20-year-old kid who wants to make $5,000 a month online. The stakes are that you don't want to go to college and you want to quit the part-time job that you have right now. And the process is that you're going to do a daily video updating exactly your process. You're going to live stream for an hour every day, showing exactly how you do this. And now that's a compelling narrative that people can buy into. And the who is just the unique way that you are as a character. Maybe you're an ex-gamer, maybe you're an ex-athlete, and you just want to let those parts of your personality get exponentially inflated out. You want to share who you are in the most authentic way possible. And if it's your first time doing content, maybe even over the top, just because that's actually going to be usually how you actually normally are in person. So once we've crafted the narrative, the next phase that we want to move into is the specific process of what we do and the tactics for how to do this. This is where I'll make the transparent disclaimer that in order to see results with the strategy I'm showing you, it is extremely simple, but it is not easy. It is hard and it actually requires work to do every single day because you're gonna have to do two things. You're gonna A, have to learn a given skill, and then B, you're gonna have to document it in a way that is compelling. If you can do both of these things and commit to, I would say, at least 4 hours of focus work every single day, you'll be able to pull off both. So what the process looks like and why it's actually going to work is we want to focus on daily volume. When we're first starting as content creators, and even the meta of content creation all across the world right now is not trying to create the perfect video that everybody just wants to watch and so it gets millions and millions of views. It is pretty much attacking the algorithm with as much pieces of content as possible until it has no choice but to show it to people, and then as a result you become more known over time. Somebody like Luke Belmar is a great example of this. He has very few viral videos. However, every single 4 minutes he throws up a post across thousands of short form Luke Belmar accounts. And because of that, you know where his face is, and he has systematically attacked the algorithm. And we don't have the budget to do that as we're first starting. However, we can do the exact same thing in our own way. And what that actually looks like is a daily YouTube video. So a daily YouTube video. In addition to that, I'd recommend you do at least a daily short. So a daily short, and then that can go on Instagram, that can go on TikTok, that can go on YouTube Shorts, maybe even go on Facebook as well. And then third, in addition to all of that, you have the ability to also add in some form of live stream. Now, this one is not essential, but if you are doing something, for example, like trading or like editing, where you can show exactly what you're working on and it doesn't actually hinder the quality of what you're doing, that's going to be a great way to, again, develop that parasocial connection so that people can live through you, like you more. And then as we move into the next phase, which is going to be the free community and way to connect. So when someone actually likes us, it's not going to be at a point where they can pay us at first because we're not an expert yet. We haven't reached a point where somebody's willing to go, all right, I want to pay you money in order to solve this problem for me. If I zoom all the way out over here, in order for us to build up the massive amount of momentum it took for us to capitalize, cash in with this one video here and make $100,000 in 30 days, we had to spend 8 weeks documenting the process of us literally taking a business from zero all the way to 36K cash collected in 8 weeks for people to actually know that we were good enough. Now, from that point on, for yourself, it's going to be the exact same way. And because of that, a free community is super, super important. You want something something that is a low barrier to entry, something that people are willing to do, that they can get involved with so you can connect with people, start building up some form of ecosystem around the videos that you're posting. And then as a result of that, when you do have something to sell, there's people that already know, like, and trust you. So great ways of doing this are, for example, Discord, you've got School, you have Telegram, and then that is honestly probably the only big three that I'd recommend doing. Now, you have the ability to do some form of email newsletter. However, I wouldn't recommend getting that started right now because that's a whole different skill and a whole bunch of different complexity unless you're like a copywriter or that's the skill you are learning. So I'd recommend you make a Discord community, a School community, or a Telegram community. Just tailor this to the kind of person you're talking to. For example, if you're teaching people how to do crypto, Telegram is great because they often already use that app for the functions of the actual business or skill that they're running. School is a great example if somebody is an entrepreneur or they're selling some form of online course and you want to see their face and it's a little bit more of a professional aspect to it. And then Discord, if you're selling something like gaming or video editing and there's people that already have Discord online, maybe they talk to their friends on Discord, you can just be another community that they're already spending time on, because that's the key. If they're already spending time on the platform that you choose, if you can create a great aspect and little hub for them, they're going to get super involved with your content because you're posting daily. You can send the actual daily video you're doing all the way into these free communities. It's going to get a baseline level of traffic and begin compounding your audience, which again, because you have this compelling narrative, is going to relate to people, and then they're going to want to pay you in the future. Now, going into the final aspect, which is the conversion of actually making this happen and making the money from this. So the conversion is pretty simple. All we're going to do, and literally all we did in both the examples that I showed you, is we had an extremely simple calendar link in our bio that said, hey, if you want help doing this, you can go ahead and schedule a call. But I want to explain the psychology of what actually makes this entire thing work, because if I were to just leave it at that, you might not actually see success with this. So the first thing that is actually extremely important when it comes to conversion is going to be the data. So we need to make sure that we know exactly how many people are looking at our calendar, and of how many people are looking at our calendar, how many people are actually going to be booking in to speak with us. If we just fly blind, we might have a huge issue with something wrong on our calendar that we're not going to be able to catch. And then as a result, posting the daily video and all this work we're doing to manage the community, create this narrative, is just going to be completely useless unless we have the data first and foremost. The next thing that makes these calendar work is it has to feel personal. This is the one thing, again, that you have over all of the massive creators. The massive creators of the world, the Alex Hormozis, the Iman Gadzis, they're so high up on their high horse and the pedestal, and rightfully so. They've earned it, they've put in the work, but they don't have time to speak with the people in their audience. You might have to speak with a sales rep. You might have to go through and just watch all their free YouTube videos. They don't have the time of day to spend with the people that are actually watching their content and are all the way down here. So if you want to win out and you want to win the hearts of all these people down here, what you have to do is you have to make yourself accessible around here. Again, you're only the guy who's a few steps ahead of them. So as a result, what you're doing with your conversion is you're giving people a way to connect with you personally in order to get your help, in order to achieve some form of desired result. And that is how it's summarized what actually makes this whole conversion aspect work. From that point on, continue posting up on the series here with these daily shorts, daily video, and the optional aspect of the live stream. And if you can actually execute this entire process right here, you're going to be able to make a lot of money and kick off your online business journey, becoming a guru or selling information. I don't think it's a bad thing. The exact same way that all of the richest people online are actually doing right now, and not the given business model they're teaching you, and hopefully be giving you the insider sauce on how this actually happened and how YouTube micro channels are actually printing was valuable. If you'd like my free guide, you can go ahead and opt in on the link in the description. Outside of that, I hope that the value you got from this video is worth the time that you spent, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.